Hello, and welcome to my channel, Chofanye. Today I'm going to talk to you about some lessons I have learned with my journey with plants as a student herbalist, and I'm going to start with the story of the broccoli. So one of the ways I try and learn about plants and my herbalism is I try as much as possible to grow them. And my primary place of growing them is my garden. I think by growing them, you follow the plants through the season, you learn more about the food you eat, you learn about more about the herbs that you take, the things that it likes, the things that it doesn't like. So as well as looking at books, I also try and grow the plants myself. So I decided for the first time to grow broccoli. Now prior to this, if I want some broccoli, I'm going to the market. So I know what broccoli looks like because I know what it looks like when I go to buy it in the shops. So I now grow the broccoli in my garden and it's going really well. And after some time, I see this nice head of broccoli coming out. And it was, I would describe a medium-sized head. And I was so excited because it was the first time I'd grown broccoli. So I then decided, not understanding about broccoli and what it is, that I want the broccoli to be bigger, so I'm going to leave it for it to get bigger, because my understanding was the more you left it, the bigger the head of broccoli will go. So I left it and I left it and then I left it, and something started to happen, and I'm going to show you some pictures of what it looks like now. The broccoli went into flower. So obviously at this point, and the length of time that I left it, it meant that I wasn't going to be eating this broccoli anymore. It's now gone into flower, and now it's going into seed, all that kind of stuff. So I learned a big lesson because I had what I wanted, and I wanted more. I wanted it to be bigger, and in doing that, nature continued its course, and it now went and flowered. And then that meant that the medium-sized broccoli that I wasn't happy with, because I was used to seeing the big pieces of broccoli that you see in the supermarkets, and I'm starting to understand why they might be so big. I was used to seeing the big ones, so I wanted mine to be big just like that, and I wanted it to be really big. And in waiting for this big thing, I wasn't satisfied with what I had. I wasn't satisfied with what I'd managed to achieve, and I then ended up missing the boat. So I learned a real big lesson there in terms of the growth of broccoli, but also, like, oddly enough, like, I've spoken to a number of friends about it. We've never seen broccoli and flower before. We don't know what broccoli flowers look like, and it was a surprise to all of us in terms of what broccoli is and how it flowers. So I've put some pictures up. I'm going to keep putting some pictures up so that you see what it looks like. So it kind of is an example of, I'm studying herbalism, and I'm a grown woman. I've eaten most of these vegetables before, but understanding how they grow is something still very new to me because of the way I have engaged my vegetables and my herbs up until now. They have been from the supermarket. Very rarely do I grow them myself. And other lessons that I've learned, for example, is I wanted to grow some cabbage, and I bought this big fat pot, and my assumption was I'm gonna put 3 or 4 cabbage in there, and I completely underestimated how big cabbage actually grows. So the picture that you're seeing now is basically of the 3 that are growing, one of them is actually now starting to take shape, but at the expense of all the other ones, because there is not enough space for all of them. I made the same mistake with carrots, growing them too close together, and I'm going to put a picture of that. So the carrots are fighting for space and they're struggling to grow because there's no space around them. So in growing the plants, you find you have a very different relationship to the plants. You start to understand them a bit more. They are able to tell you a bit more of their story, what kind of personalities they are, what they like, what they don't like. So for example, I can tell what happens when a plant doesn't have enough water, when it doesn't have enough sunlight, or when it's growing out of its pot, like the signs that it shows that it's struggling. And then I realize, I need to repot them. And as time goes on and I see different things, I engage them in a very different way. So I just thought I'd tell you the story, because not only am I learning about growing what I will eventually be using and what I am eating, I'm learning life lessons you know, from these plants. Sometimes you kind of have to be grateful for what you have. It's like the broccoli has taught me, you know, they say, oh, the people always say the grass is greener on the other side, and then when you go to the other side, you realize it's not, you know, exactly what you thought it was, and you should have been grateful for what you had. So yeah, I thought I'd tell you this story of the broccoli, and it'll be interesting to hear some of the lessons that you've learned engaging with plants and growing them yourself. And again, if you've got any tips, because I'm still learning, I'm very much new to this, so if you've got any tips in terms of growing, I'm growing a number of vegetables like tomatoes, like the cabbage I mentioned, the broccoli, and a number of herbs, thyme, or the coriander, parsley, all sorts, and I'm looking to expand further. So if you have any tips, do let me know, and I hope you enjoyed my little broccoli story. Take care. Bye.